everybody, I'm Allison. Welcome to my wonderland. Today I'm going to be sharing 33 tips to help you recover from any eating disorder. These are things that have really helped me. They were immensely beneficial for me during the start of my recovery process and continue to help me today. So all of the stuff mentioned in this video is tried, true, and tested, and I have been working on compiling this list for over a year, and I'm finally deciding to share it with you guys, so I'm really excited to be making this video. So my first tip or advice is really just, it's okay to be scared or have toxic thoughts. Like, don't get all down on yourself because you're not magically recovering overnight, right? That's not gonna happen. And recovery is not about magically shifting your mindset overnight. It's more about noticing those toxic, disordered thoughts, patterns, behaviors, and when you take notice of them, actively making the choice to go against it, to not give it any power. My dog's here. Come here. Yeah, special friend for the video. And once you make it a practice to choose not to give that disordered voice any power over you, and you choose not to listen to it and feed into it and go into those cycles, eventually that voice will start to get smaller and smaller. So I know it maybe feels really intense right now, really big, really overwhelming, maybe a little controlling. So that's really normal. If anything in this video sounds super intense or like unattainable right now, just impossible, don't be alarmed. Recovery is obviously not linear. It can be a very rocky process, a lot of ups and downs, and everybody watching this is going to be at very different stages in their own recovery. So just be aware. Like, I'm just here to share what helped me during my recovery and what still helps me today, and that's all. Probably the number one most important tip on recovering from eating disorders is you have to find the root of it. You have to find the trigger, because eating disorders, they're never actually about food, and they're not usually about body image either. It's mostly about control, trauma, can be about self-image, societal expectations, a way to deal with stress, like anything. The reason people have eating disorders is so varied, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. So it's really important for you to get to the root of why you are struggling with an eating disorder. There's always going to be something triggering it. So for me, my eating disorder started as like a social contagion type thing, but it was really exacerbated later in my adult life from trauma. And so a lot of my initial recovery was really me trying to figure out why I was doing this. A lot of my initial recovery was me discovering why I was actually behaving like this, why I had developed the eating disorder in the first place, and what need I was trying to meet. And that's something that's really important. And you probably hear this, like, if you go to therapy, like, you're always trying to get your needs met, like internal family systems type stuff, and eating disorders are really no different. You're trying to meet some type of need. So is that like the need for safety? Is that the need for love? Is that like, you have to really get to the root of it, and there's always going to be a root. It can be pretty similar to addiction. We're all just trying to have our needs met, and sometimes we go about that in really desperate and frankly irrational ways. So once you identify that need and trigger point, it's important to confront it head on and really go deep into healing it. And you can do this any way that works for you. It's not a one size fits all. Like, some things that helped me were journal prompts, guided meditations, therapy, obviously. Personally, shadow work has really helped me. It's been really helpful for me in getting to the root of my patterns and really discovering why I'm doing the things I do unconsciously when I don't even realize it. So I really recommend shadow work. It's really about getting into that like unconscious, shadowy mind. It's very like Jungian psychology type thing. You're welcome to look into that. I'm not really going to spend a long time talking about shadow work, but it helped me. And there's probably good shadow work tips out there for like eating disorders, body image, trauma, any of the things. My next tip is throw out your scale. Throw it out. You don't need it. You don't need that scale. Like, nothing good is going to come in your life if you keep that scale. It's not even just putting it on a shelf, because I promise you're going to be tempted to take that right back down. And you probably will if you keep the scale. Like, honestly, speaking from experience, if you don't make the decision to just one and done it, throw away the scale, you're always going to keep coming back to it. And it's really hard to have a healthy relationship with watching your weight if you're prone to restricting or really just like a negative body image in general. My next tip is delete your eating disorder socials. This is a really obvious one, but it's very important. A lot of us, when we're very deep in our eating disorders, we can have accounts on social media, like eating disorder Twitters and all of that, forums online. And even if you think it's a healthy place, even if it's maybe, say, like a recovery forum online, I personally found that even going on recovery forums online really triggered me, because most of them, either they do have somewhere where people who aren't in recovery can post, or even the people who are in recovery can be very triggering at times. And so I honestly wouldn't recommend to anybody to even like have a recovery forum account. No eating disorder socials. It's just not good to like surround yourself with that. In my opinion, your recovery should really be your own, and with the exception of maybe like group therapy or something like that, commiserating in your eating disorder, maybe commiserating is not the right word, but sharing in that with others like online in an unregulated space is not the best way to go about it, in my opinion. And I found personally, and I would guess that this would be the same for a lot of people, it can be really triggering. So definitely delete your eating disorder socials. And then that brings me to my next point, which is just do a total social media cleanse. So like on the socials that you do have on your personal accounts or whatever, really clean those out, because social media is really only toxic because we're exposing ourselves to so many things that make us feel like shit all the time. Like we're scrolling on Instagram, we see all these travel pictures and these people just with bodies that we're idolizing, and it makes us feel really bad about ourselves, and it makes us feel like we should be exactly like that. We should be doing that. This should be our life. This should be us. And it's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. So I definitely encourage you to, like, if there's any influencers, any posts that you notice making you feel insecure about yourself or just feeling bad, clear it. It doesn't matter how much you enjoy that person's content. If it's not making you feel good, what is it doing for you? You've taken so much energy from what you see online, and I think a lot of us don't even really focus on that, but it gets to us so deeply. And so personally, like, if you saw my Instagram feed, it is basically just like animals and art. Like every time I go on Instagram, I'm just happy. Like it doesn't drain me. I don't spend hours on there scrolling, whatever. And so I think this for eating disorder recovery can be very, very important. And you can find new influencers to follow that do make you feel good about yourself. It's not like you have to totally give up social media. Like there are people out there who are posting things that are going to make you feel good about yourself. So find those people, find your lane, and have the courage to walk away from what isn't good for you. Kind of in line with this, honestly, just cleanse your whole life. Like it does not even come down to just social media. That's your online world, but you need to cleanse your physical and your mental world as well. So there might be like old clothes that don't fit you anymore that just make you depressed, friends who trigger you that you might need to walk away from or take some space from, apps you're better off deleting that just need to go in order to support your healing. Life will feel very different in recovery. It is not going to be the same. You're not going to be surrounding yourself with the same things you're used to. You're not going to be behaving the same way you're used to. So it really sometimes takes like a radical shift in order to get us propelled into that mindset, because it's really hard to stick with also at first. If you're coming off of like years or however long of being knee deep in an eating disorder and being so controlled by that, it's going to be really easy to go back to it because it's what you know. So really clearing out the external from our lives that we know will bring us back into those patterns is really, really helpful. In a similar vein, my next tip is to delete old pictures. I'm not saying like delete your family vacation photos, not at all, but body checks, like pictures of our weight, like even meal spo, thin spo, anything that is used to encourage your eating disorder, just delete it. And I know we can have so strong of attachments to pictures, like our body checks and stuff like that, and it can feel like you're just holding on so tightly to that and you want to go back to it so badly. It's really easy to romanticize also if it's been a while in recovery and you look back at these old pictures and you're like, I was so happy, I was so much happier then. It can be really easy to look at life through a rose-colored lens when we're just looking back on old pictures. It's like if you see a picture of you and your ex and you're like, oh, but really, that man was the devil, you know? Like, you're just going in your head, like, really romanticizing stuff. And it's the same thing with eating disorders. So really, really, really delete your old pictures. That serves no purpose to you. That serves no purpose to you. By keeping your old body checks and stuff like that, you're sending a subtle message out there that you are still attached to your eating disorder and that you might go back to it. You're keeping that as an option. And if you even have that option, I'm speaking from experience, it's very likely that you will go back into those disordered patterns. My next tip is also really obvious. Work with a professional. This is something that I didn't do at the beginning of my recovery journey. I just raw dogged it myself. I just got really deep into like yoga, meditation, journaling, all of the self-help stuff, right? I was lucky to do that because I'm unemployed. So I had a lot of time on my hands to devote to my healing. I would recommend for everybody, whether or not you have that much time, I'd recommend to everybody work with a professional because there's only so much we can do from the narrow capacity of our own minds, right? We see the world one way. We see the world through our lens, and especially with eating disorders, it's really hard to judge whether or not that lens is actually filtering back to you what's accurate or if it's just a disordered perception of reality. And so working with a professional, talking to somebody who has training in this and can recognize those thought patterns that maybe you don't recognize because you are so familiar with them, it can be really helpful and offer insight. So I recommend to everybody, work with a professional. If you don't think you need it, work with a professional. For restriction, honor your hunger even if it feels off in the beginning, because when we go from periods of intense restriction or inconsistent dieting, our body doesn't know like when the next meal is going to be because it's so used to being in these states and cycles of starvation. And it's very normal to have extreme hunger. You've probably heard the term extreme hunger. It's very normal to have that at the beginning, like where it feels like you might have a parasite or something. You're just so hungry and it's like eating you up inside, right? But it's important to do your best to honor that, even if it feels very unfamiliar, because your body is just trying to catch back up with what it's been missing for this huge amount of time probably, right? So really be kind to your body. It's craving nutrients. You know, you've been depriving it for so long. There's reasons why this is happening, and it won't last forever. So it's not like you're just going to be eating a million things a day in recovery forever. It'll even out, but it won't have as much of an opportunity to even out if you purposely restrict yourself during this time because you feel like you're too hungry. Also for restriction, don't do intense exercise. Don't go to the gym. Like, even if you love the gym, honestly, I wouldn't recommend to anybody who's in recovery from anorexia or like maybe even bulimia to be in the gym, because it's just going to make you want to work it off and like all these patterns. It can get really obsessive. I'm 2 years into my recovery, 2.5 maybe, and I still don't have a good relationship with the gym because it was something that has always been like so obsessive for me. And in my periods of restriction or binge purging, I would always over exercise, and I also really enjoy exercise, so it would become very obsession based for me. So yeah, I definitely encourage staying away from the gym. It doesn't mean don't exercise, just maybe have light exercise take priority. And for restriction, this is extra important because your body is not even at, you know, a good base state anyway. Your body doesn't even have enough nutrients or energy. So if you're going and you're eating like 1,500 calories a day, which is a ton for you, but then you go to the gym and you burn like 500, you know, it's just, you're still restricting. So I definitely don't recommend going to the gym. You could do like light walks. Yoga has really helped me. I started doing yoga immediately when I started recovery. It was coincidental. I didn't do it for my eating disorder, but I started right around that time, and it literally changed my life. And it really can help with eating disorders. It really helps hone the mind and really get in touch with that. So I definitely recommend yoga. Going into my next tip, find ways to move your body that are for enjoyment, not result. Because it's still really important to move your body. Movement is essential for a healthy life, but you don't want to be putting crazy expectations on yourself, and try and do it because you want to do it, because you're having fun doing it, rather than to get a specific result or to burn off calories or to be productive or any of these things that aren't heart motivations. Oftentimes, especially with eating disorders, we can get into really rigid mindsets around exercise, telling ourselves we have to be achieving a certain number to be proud of ourselves, or a certain amount of time, or we have to be the best in the class. We have to get a certain achievement to even move our bodies at all. Like, we can't just go to the gym and stay for 10 minutes. We have to like do, right? None of this is true. It's very important to move regularly, but it shouldn't always be so forced. There's a time and a place to force yourself to have the discipline to exercise, but eating disorder recovery is not one of them. Like, it's just not. It's just not. You could try taking a walk in nature, swimming in a friend's pool, collecting seashells on the beach, doing yin yoga before bed to wind down. You could go to a Zumba class. You could put on your favorite songs and dance around your room like you're a kid. I love to do this. Like, dance is one of the most fun ways to move my body. I love it. So I highly recommend dance. It really gets you out of your mind too. Learn how to do a cartwheel, like literally whatever you want to do, just do it and have fun, and learn that like movement can be fun and it doesn't always have to be attached to a specific outcome or an achievement that you have to do. Have fun with it. Next tip is eat a variety of healthy foods in recovery. So don't eat only junk food. I think for a lot of people, it's really common when we're recovering from especially restriction. Like, your body naturally craves the quick energies. It craves the desserts, the sugars, the fast food. It's so super common, right? And I'm not saying you even have to limit that, but eat the junk food and add to it healthy foods like vegetables and fruit. There's really nothing wrong inherently with eating junk food, especially in recovery. But it's important to also give your body the vitamins, the minerals, the micronutrients, and the fiber, especially from vegetables and fruits, that can really support your digestion in recovery, because digestion is probably not going to be easy for a little while. You might develop some like IBS-like symptoms. That's really normal. So especially in the early stages of recovery, it's really good to have like those fruits and veggies. Just add them to your diet. You don't have to take anything out. Just add veggies. This one is going to be very dependent on the person. So I want you to like take this one with a grain of salt and know that you know yourself better than I know you. I'm just a person on the screen sharing what helped for me. But if you think that you won't be triggered by it, I could honestly recommend getting into cooking. Cooking is one of the things that really helped me stick with my recovery. I never cooked before. I hardly knew how to make mac and cheese, right? I was just such a noob in the kitchen, and I didn't like it. During recovery, I actually made the decision to go vegan, and that took a lot of my fear and anxiety around food away, because I would always freak out about, is the meat cooked? Is the cheese like old? Is it, I don't know, the perishability of meat and dairy, and I get icked out real bad by it. Still do. So that was why I didn't cook before. Like, I won't cook my own meat. I'm not vegan anymore, but I won't cook my own meat. I will go to a restaurant and I'll get a kid's chicken breast because they overcook it. And I can trust that they overcook it, right? So me not having that anxiety personally around what I'm eating really helped me. And I started cooking. I started discovering all these new vegetables. I must have tried like hundreds of new foods in the first year that I was in recovery, just solely because I was cooking and I was vegan, and I was like having so much fun with vegetables. So basically, all this aside, this is just like personal anecdote stuff. But I got really into cooking. I began to love making my own meals. I loved like putting the work into something and then getting to see the result of it and getting to eat the result, and it was good and I was proud of myself. Like, I also like to make food for friends and have dinner with friends, cook with friends, and then sit together over a shared meal that you created for them or you created together. It's a beautiful way to connect. People have been coming together over food for millennia. This is intrinsically part of the human experience, and it can be a really beautiful thing and really healing for the eating disorder mindset, to really see food as something that can bring you together with the people you love, something that you can be proud of yourself for creating, kind of like a labor of love type of thing where you put the work into it and you get to feel good about it and you get to eat a yummy meal. But I'm gonna say like this tip is not gonna be for everyone at all, because I know a lot of people cook to control food, and so if you are someone who has used cooking as like maybe a maladaptive behavior for your eating disorder in the past, don't take this advice. I do not recommend cooking for people who it has triggered before. And I know I talked about how going vegan really helped me. I don't recommend that for a single person with an eating disorder. Like, unless maybe you're exactly like me and you freak the F out about meat and dairy, then, I mean, it helped me, but I don't recommend anybody with an eating disorder, not a restrictive eating disorder, to go vegan. It's such a restrictive diet inherently, and most people do really like meat and dairy, so taking that stuff out isn't easy for most people. It's not fun for most people. So that should not be something that you do when you're still dealing with an eating disorder. And that, like, just to go into a mini tangent, a really small tangent really quickly, there are people online that you might have seen, like vegan influencers and stuff, that are like try and make people feel badly for not being vegan when you have a freaking eating disorder. And I don't want you guys to let that make you feel badly at all, because that used to make me feel so bad, and I just think it's really, really awful. You should obviously, you know, care about animals, care about the planet, but you fundamentally, first and foremost, you need to prioritize your survival over all things. Like, all things, that's what we're doing. We're surviving, like, we're human beings, you know? So please don't feel like you are doing anything wrong by not being vegan. But I know this is probably, like, gonna land with me. Hopefully that lands with, like, one person. Maybe everybody's watching this like, girl, I didn't. But yeah, I definitely don't encourage being vegan, but I do, for some people, encourage cooking. If you are in recovery, but maybe you're like struggling to eat enough or just eat, period, I definitely suggest eating foods that you attach to positive memories. So maybe you have a food that your parents used to make all the time when you were a kid, or like you have a snack you and your best friend used to eat together all the time after school, something that has a positive memory attached to it. That's going to be a lot easier for you to eat. So like, for example, I have such a core memory of, on holidays and special occasions, my mom would make cinnamon rolls, and I would just wake up in my room and the cinnamony butteriness would just waft in, and I would wake up and smell cinnamon rolls and like run to the kitchen, and they're the best cinnamon rolls on the planet, right? Like, and so in recovery, like, I would eat cinnamon rolls, and that would be a lot easier for me to eat than something else that I didn't have a happy memory attached to, because it's like every time I eat a cinnamon roll, and especially my mom's cinnamon rolls, like, I'm just transported back to being a kid and being so excited for my mom's cinnamon rolls. And same with crepes. My mom used to make really good crepes. So these are things that I still eat now and like make myself, that just really remind me of those happy memories. And every time I eat a cinnamon roll, I'm happy. You know, I can't be stressed in eating a cinnamon roll. So if you have anything like that for you, I highly, highly, highly suggest making and eating foods that you attach to positive memories. My next tip is definitely try new foods. Don't confine yourself to the same things you always used to eat. You know, like, you're in recovery. You can eat whatever the F you want. So really take advantage of that. Try new foods, maybe things you've been wanting to try but you wouldn't let yourself in the past, or just something that you're out and you see some new food and you're like, okay, I'll try that. I have found so many amazing new foods since being in recovery, and I was always a really picky eater. Like, as a kid, I probably ate 5 things on a rotating basis, just really, really, really picky. And coming into recovery really helped me with that. In recovery, it's really important, like, this is about enjoying food. This is about building a new relationship with food where you see it as something positive, as something to enjoy, as something to give you life, right? So trying new foods is really important, and it can really help broaden your relationship with food and help you enjoy eating more. Because I know in eating disorder recovery, it can be really hard to just baseline enjoy food. My next tip / opinion, op-ed, is I prefer body neutrality rather than body positivity. I find that when we have an eating disorder, it can be really, really fake feeling to be like, I love my body is beautiful. It's like, I don't think that, you know, like, I don't, when you're in that state, it just sometimes feels like too much bullshit. But I think body neutrality can be a lot easier to really like tap into, because most people really are genuinely grateful that their bodies allow them to do so many things, right? Like, aren't most of us really grateful that we get to be sitting here right now, experiencing life, having all of these options available to us because of our bodies? And so I think that kind of like energy of gratitude for your body and like acceptance for your body, how it looks because of what it does for you, and like the appreciation because of what it does for you, can be really, really, really helpful in eating disorder recovery, to try and detach some of those expectations of beauty, aesthetics, appearance that we do put on our body, because it's not made for that. You know, like, we made that up. Like, we just fully made that up. So really try and appreciate your body for what it can do for you. Like, the magic of being able to walk and run and leap and dance and hug and kiss and hold hands and experience and see and hear and speak and sing and laugh and cry. It's almost unfathomable if you really sit down and think about how much our bodies actually allow us to do. How many beautiful things that we get to experience just because we are here in these bodies. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. I've had like insane moments where I've just like realized that. Like, I've just been sitting and like, holy shit, I'm a human. Like, I can walk. Like, I can just go outside and like jump around in a puddle. And then I do. Because when you think about all that our bodies allow us to do and all that our bodies allow us to be, and we spend so much time sitting here worrying about how they look or what we're gonna wear, it's so silly. Like, it's just so silly. It really is silly when it comes down to it. We just have built up such an attachment to it that it feels like real life. But what it is silly. It's silliness. So this next part of the video is hands down the most important part. This is really the core of what has really drastically helped me and profoundly changed the way that I see my eating disorder, food, my body, etc. So this is going to be the segment about how to actually shift your mindset, change your mind, literally rewire your brain, and get rid of those nasty eating disorder patterns and take their power away. So the first tip is going to sound really cookie cutter, but just stick with me because you really want to do it, and it's one of the most important things, is repeating affirmations to yourself, even and especially if they feel fake, because they will. It's going to feel fake, it's going to feel cringe, it's going to feel like BS-y, and that's just how it is when you start doing it. But it's really important to give yourself this new worldview, these new stories, these new beliefs, to just get them into your brain. Even if you don't believe them, because you probably won't, but you've been living with these false beliefs for so long that they have become your reality, and the actual reality, which is that none of this shit actually matters, seems so fake to us now. So it's important to kind of remind ourselves of that, even when it feels fake. So there are 2 affirmations that I used that really, really, really helped me. And one of these was, my body is a safe home for my radiant spirit. This one really helped me as well because I was also doing a lot of like trauma recovery stuff around the time I was first starting to recover. And then the second one, which is just my favorite thing ever, and I still use it like all the time. It's about how I feel, not about how I look. And I just love this because it's so potently true. Nothing in life is actually about how you look. Like, when you think back to your happiest moments, were you filled with radiant joy that exuded from every fiber of your being because you looked skinny? Like, no. That doesn't bring any lasting peace or joy or happiness or even pride, like self-satisfaction. It doesn't really fulfill you in any real way. You think back at your happiest moments, and it was about how you felt. It was about what you were doing. It was about the people you were with, the activity you were partaking in, whatever, right? None of it was about your external appearance. And so I think it's really important to go through life with that mindset of, this is not about how I look. This is about how I feel. always, always, always prioritize how you feel. Eating disorders by nature are stuffing down our emotions and our wants and our needs in favor of self-torment by prioritizing this aesthetic, right? Prioritizing the way we look. Even though eating disorders are not truly often primarily about the way we look, it is a definite symptom for almost everybody with an eating disorder. So breaking that attachment is really, really, really important. And like I said, it's going to feel fake. It's going to feel really effing dumb. But you want to do it. You really, really, really want to do it. And there are plenty of affirmations like Pinterest. That's where I got the first one. Really good place for affirmations. I told myself affirmations so much, especially in the beginning of my recovery. Like every time I would look in the mirror, I would tell myself an affirmation. Every time I would like start to check myself, I would tell myself an affirmation. Every time I noticed myself having a thought pattern, like I would tell myself an affirmation, etc., etc., etc. So it's really something that you want to become like a muscle memory almost. One thing that really helped in regards to affirmation is saying it to yourself in the mirror. This is something that a lot of people find really uncomfortable because it is very uncomfortable and it's very awkward. It feels very uncomfortable at first and just like, get me out of here, because most of us aren't really used to being so deeply intimate with ourselves and really like connecting with ourselves in that way and looking at ourselves and seeing ourselves, especially when we've been dealing with eating disorders. It's kind of, that's the antithesis of it, right? But if you can get past that initial discomfort enough to just make yourself do it, even if you feel discomfort, it will help you so much. I found it to be very powerful for truly like getting in touch with myself and like speaking to myself as if I'm another person almost, but not quite another person. Speaking to myself as if I am like the person that I want to be, right? Because the person that I want to be is not bound by these silly fears of what I look like or how much I'm eating or any of these things. That's not something that I want to carry with me for the rest of my life. No, the person I want to be is the one who says it's about how I feel, not about how I look. So really like telling yourself that in that mindset kind of has really helped me. In a similar vein, this is like number one, the most helpful thing ever for my eating disorder. This is really what made the change. This is what propelled me into a different era of my life and of my recovery. Every single time you notice yourself having a disordered thought or a disordered pattern, correct it in your head. Immediately when you have that thought, correct it. So for example, you're thinking, oh, my legs look so big in these shorts. You could change that and say, you know, I'm grateful to have legs that carry me through the beauty of life, right? And it's probably going to feel, again, like very fake. You might not even mean it, but just reframe whatever thought you have in the way that works the best for you, as long as it is an opposite of what you said, as long as it's something that contradicts what you said, that offers a healthier perspective to what you said and just kind of course corrects that in your head. That's enough. You don't have to believe it. It can sound really stupid, whatever. As long as it's going against that disordered thought, that's what matters. And this is something that, if there's anything in this video that sticks with you and that you take and you start to practice in your own life, please let it be this one, because this is really, really, really how you begin the process of changing your mind and building new patterns in your mind. And don't be discouraged if it takes a little while, because it took a long time for these patterns to build up and your brain needs to relearn healthier patterns. And after a while of doing this, I literally noticed it seep into my subconscious mind to the point where like I would have dreams where I would exhibit some sort of disordered pattern or behavior, or like I would say something disordered. And then in my actual dream, I would correct myself, just like I did in my waking hours. And that to me was such a powerful, like, holy shit, this is working. Just amazing stuff. So over time, what you're telling yourself really will start to seep in. Oh, my gives. Over time, what you're telling yourself will really start to seep into every area of your life, and it will really start to seep into your deep mind, and it will just become truth for you. It will just become another pattern, just like your disorder thoughts were. And this is one of the things that probably could sound very unattainable to some people who are still in the very early stages of their recovery. But even if it sounds unattainable, just give it a shot, because you really have nothing to lose. And I'm telling you, you really can change your brain's patterns. It's just a lot easier to be stuck in the patterns that we have been in for so long. It's what we're used to, and the ego is much more comfortable in familiar misery than the unfamiliar that might lead to miracles. It's very important to make a conscious effort to push back against your ego in eating disorder recovery. And when I say ego, I really just mean like that little voice that wants you to go back to your eating disorder, the false safety of restriction, the temporary comfort of binging. But that's not what is going to bring you into the fullness of life and into the fullness of your spirit. You have to make the choice to go against that little voice that would have you drowning in your created misery for the rest of your life. My next tip, it's really important to get in touch with who you actually are, like at your core level. Who are you outside of all this shit that you created? You know, what do you like to do? Who do you love? What do you love? What makes you feel alive? What are you passionate about? What are your dreams? Like, really things that get to the core of who you are and what you feel. It's very important to connect with yourself inwardly as well as outwardly, and focus on things that make you feel something real. Keyword real. Focus on things that make you feel something real. Not the temporary satisfaction of like getting to your goal weight or being able to eat a ton of desserts because you'll just throw them up later. Any of these things. Ask yourself, is that really how you want to live? Do you want to wake up in 20 years and realize you're still living a life that revolves around food? Probably not. And so it's really important to get in touch with what you do actually want out of life, what makes you come alive. And then in a similar vein, do stuff in real life. Eating disorders can really distort our sense of reality, and it can be really easy to isolate ourselves because of our disorders, which only furthers the disordered cycles. It's so super important to get out there in the real world, go do stuff, go experience, go be in the real world. And this could be like anything you want to do. Go to coffee shops, read a book, people watch. You can like invite friends to do group painting. You can take a walk in nature. Really like anything that's actually real and uplifts your spirit and makes your heart feel light and makes you feel like you're alive, and it makes you feel like the sun is on your skin, you know? Eventually, the eating disorder lies will just melt away, because it's very hard for eating disorders to thrive when you are being your authentic self in the real world and when you're doing authentic things in the real world. My next tip is to cultivate a mindset of gratitude, and this is so helpful for anybody with any eating disorder. Food is truly a privilege, and we are really lucky to be able to have any access to it at all, let alone to have such unrestricted access that we actually use it as a way to control ourselves and purposefully restrict the amount of food or overindulge on the amount of food. What a blessing, right? It really helps to honor food for the gift that it is and give thanks for the ability to eat at all. So think of how people say grace before dinner. It doesn't have to look particularly religious for you if you don't want it to, but that concept of giving thanks for the meal that you're about to eat is so important. You can eat more slowly than you usually might and really just think about how lucky you are to be having this delicious meal. I like to think about how grateful I am to have access to delicious and healthy food that makes my body and my mind feel good. It's really a blessing to be able to afford access to clean fruits and vegetables and to be able to have the freedom of choice to have any diet that I want. And so whenever I'm hard on myself for overeating or having a binge episode, I remind myself that I'm grateful to even have the privilege of overindulging. My next tip is to keep a recovery journal. I journaled so much during my initial recovery, and I found it really helpful to be able to like look back on while I was still in that state and remind myself why I'm doing it. And then further into the future, I like to look back on it and just read about how I was doing and what kinds of things I was doing that were helping me. Journaling, I think, overall in life is so important for that exact same reason, but especially in recovery, it can be very helpful to keep an eating disorder journal. Not tracking your food or anything like that. I don't recommend that, but stuff I did was like I would do periodic updates, and then I would also do journal prompts. I also want to share with you guys this book. It's a journal. It's called Sensual Self, and it's by Evian Whitney, and this is an amazing journal. It has all these different prompts about getting in touch with your body. It's not specifically for eating disorder recovery, but I think connecting with your body and getting in touch with your body is one of the first steps in eating disorder recovery because we're so disconnected from our bodies. Here, I just opened to a random one, right? When you're feeling overtaxed, anxious, or fatigued, how does your body want to be soothed? What's your favorite way to bring comfort and relaxation into your body? And so you can really just like tap into this and really get reacquainted with your body and its signals. And if anybody would be interested in hearing some like excerpts from my recovery journal or whatever, if I go back through it and realize it could be helpful for someone, I'm more than happy to share. And then again, reconnect with your body. It is so important in eating disorder recovery to build up that relationship with your body again. Eating disorders take us so far out of our bodies and in a completely different realm. We're like ghosts inhabiting our bodies. So it's really important to reestablish that root connection into our body, becoming acquainted with yourself again, and reuniting your mind and your body with love. So some practices I enjoy for getting in touch with my body, again, yoga. I want to mention yoga like 50 times during this video because everybody should do yoga. So yoga, guided meditations, somatic shaking, which like you basically get up and you just like, you just shake. It's kind of hard to do when I'm sitting down, but dance, self-touch, which is not as dirty as it sounds. Like literally you just lay down and like just kind of like run your hands along your body and just kind of like feel into it. That can be a really grounding practice. If you do want to do the other side of it, self-pleasure can also be really helpful. Going barefoot in nature, simply just being outside, yoga nidra, or the rotation of consciousness. So in really short terms, going into like a meditative position and sending your thought energy to every point of your body. And I don't recommend doing this like by yourself. There's guided meditations and stuff. You could do rotation of consciousness or yoga nidra, body scan, any of these things. And it really helps you get in touch with the individual parts of your body, like even like your pinky finger, your left pinky finger. Really helpful. Breath work can be really helpful. It's impossible to not be in the present moment when you're doing breath work. So if you need like a good grounding, definitely try that out. Anything sensual, anything that makes you like feel into your body, like anything that is just very feeling oriented. Even just like eating a cherry can be an act of reconnecting with your body if you really do it with intention. And then once you reconnect with your body, listen to your body. So a lot of times we can get really hit with sudden hunger signals, and we're confused because we spent a long time not feeling this because we've been so disconnected from our body. But really, our body was always sending these signals to us, always like crying out for us. We just couldn't hear it. We were too wrapped up in our eating disorders to really tune into our own bodies and listen. So whatever wisdom your body has for you, whatever it is telling you, really listen to that and honor that. Like if you're feeling anxious, do something that you know will calm you down. If you're feeling hungry, allow yourself to eat. If you're feeling full, give yourself the permission to stop eating and save the rest for later and be excited about what you can enjoy later. It really works for everything. That's not easy at all. So this is one that is going to probably be more of a longer process and is still a process for me all the time, is actually listening to my body. Once you get those signals back, like you do have to make the conscious choice to listen to the signal. And that is not always easy, but with real commitment over time, it does get easier. So once you've reconnected with your body, started listening to it, try and practice honoring your body in all of its seasons. We're humans. Our bodies are constantly changing. Our bodies change a million times even during the day. Think about like when you eat something and your stomach gets a little bigger. Like our stomachs and our bodies just change all the time throughout the day. And with eating disorders, it can be really easy to focus on how bad that makes us feel. We're insecure because we're bloated, etc. But it's a really magical thing. So if you find yourself feeling bad about yourself because you're bloated, for example, because your body isn't looking exactly how you want it, try and stop your thought pattern again, contradict it, tell yourself maybe like, I honor my body in all of its seasons and appreciate all it allows me to do, see, be, and achieve. Anything like this. It's a really hard thing to do, but it's very important to try and respect your body unconditionally. And when you have those moments of not feeling good about yourself, don't treat yourself any differently than you would normally. Like, don't make yourself restrict just because you don't like the way your body looks. That's really unhealthy and going right back into those disordered patterns. So really honor it in all of its seasons. My next tip is be honest with yourself if you're binging or restricting. A million times in the past, I would be binging and I would lie to myself and be like, oh, but if I don't eat this next cookie, then it'll be like I'm restricting myself, even though I had plenty and I knew it. Like, I was just bold-faced lying to myself, or like if I was restricting, I'd be like, oh, I'm not technically restricting, I'm just not eating as much. But really, I knew deep down I was attached to the way I looked and what I was eating. I was just lying to myself to continue those patterns. If you lie to yourself in those moments, it's only going to further the disordered patterns. So you need to at the very least, be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable for what you're actually doing. In moments like this nowadays, because obviously I still have moments of binging, I still have moments of restricting, but in moments like this now, I literally say out loud to myself, I'm making the conscious decision to do this so that I at least hold myself accountable and I don't get as mindlessly into the thought patterns. It's very easy if you're not acknowledging what you're doing to just get lost in weeks of binging or restricting. And at least when you hold yourself accountable, it becomes harder to say, I'm making this conscious decision every day. It gets a lot harder. Also, when you're having thoughts of restricting or binging, I really recommend journaling beforehand. So before you make the choice, let's say to binge, definitive in your brain, just take a little time to journal out your thoughts, think about what's making you feel this way, like why am I really wanting to run to food right now? Or why am I really wanting to avoid food right now? Whether or not you choose to binge or restrict after you journal will be up to you, but at least you will have reflected on it and maybe gained a deeper understanding as to why you're actually behaving this way. And a lot of time, especially with binging, a lot of time after you do this and reflect, you just don't even really have the urge anymore. And then later, when you're feeling better, journal again under that last entry and remind yourself why life is so much better in a recovery mindset. And then the next time that you want to binge or restrict, you can look back on the second journal entry and be reminded of why you should stick with recovery. You could even address this journal entry to yourself, like you're giving yourself advice, and then that could also be helpful to look back on because it's addressed to you. Turn eating into a ritual. A lot of times with eating disorders, meal times can feel really stressful and just not a positive experience. So it really helps to make meal times a special time, something to look forward to, something that, you get to do, something you enjoy while you're doing it. So my favorite thing to do is take my food outside and just find a nice place to sit and just sit in the woods eating my food and like really connecting with nature. And usually it will be vegetables, so I'll be connecting with nature in that way while also being surrounded by nature herself. And this is something that really helps to just get into the present moment and really focus on eating and not have it be so overwhelming. I find that it's really hard to be overwhelmed by anything when I'm in the middle of the woods. Like I just feel so small, like all my silly human problems just melt away and I'm like, no, this is what there is. Like another thing that you can do to enhance your meal times are eating with your eyes closed and really like focusing on all the individual notes you can taste. This is especially helpful if you like to cook or if you enjoy eating in general, and you can really like feel into those individual notes. Like think of the scene from Ratatouille where Remy has the cheese and the grape and he mixes them together and he's like the symphony of flavors comes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to channel your inner Remy. And then eating with your left hand can also make you more present at meal times, because or your non-dominant hand. If you're a lefty, then eat with your right hand, whatever hand is non-dominant, because it's not a muscle memory for us, so it forces us to be more present. And when I had Lyme disease, I actually had to close my eyes and eat with my left hand for over a month, and it was a very tuned in experience with eating. In my opinion, it's important to, whenever you can, not have distractions all the time when you're eating, and really try and be present with yourself during meal times. If you have someone to eat with, always eat with another person. That has been scientifically proven that it helps people during meal times to eat with those they love. And you always want to be in a positive mindset as much as you can also when you're eating, so it helps to have these practices surrounding meal times as well to get you into a positive mindset to aid with your digestive process. And I'm not saying you have to like take every meal outside. I don't even do that every week. Like, that's really just when I feel like doing it. And I'm not saying you have to like close your eyes for every meal, but just try and do it sometimes. Try and make eating a conscious and intentional activity occasionally. My next tip is to develop a relationship with your body that makes it easier to commit to recovery. So you could think of your body as a friend, your home, maybe your inner child. That's something that really helps me. I like to think about my body as my inner child, and I like to think about, like, if my inner child was here with me, I wouldn't be starving her, I wouldn't be force feeding her. I would make her the food that she loves, that's good for her, and I would feed her gently and softly and spend time with her and hug her and sit with her. And so if you have something like this that you can think about your body in a different sort of light that makes it easier to treat your body with love and respect, I definitely recommend building that up. This is a really generic advice, but I really want to say it because it's very true for binging. You probably heard this, but it's really helpful to eat several times throughout the day in smaller amounts rather than just having a few bigger meals. And this will really help to keep you feeling satiated throughout the day. Eating smaller more often, you'll feel like you're getting more food. And it'll keep your energy levels up as well, so you don't have any like sugar crashes or anything like that. And this is helpful for everybody. Like, I'm sure we all know when we go a period of time restricting and then we start eating again, the urge to binge is so much stronger because we've gone a long time without eating, because we've been starving ourselves and our body is craving all these nutrients. So on a smaller scale, when we're so used to binge eating, it really helps to eat several times throughout the day in smaller amounts so that we avoid that exact pattern of going back to binging just because we haven't eaten in a long time. It's really important to not restrict yourself, even if you are having a binging episode or a bad day. So if you had a really bad day, you've been like overeating and your body just isn't feeling good, but that binge urge is gripping at your mind, right? I really do suggest like honoring that desire to eat, but replacing maybe like this sweet with a vegetable soup or a banana, something that is made up of whole foods, fruits and vegetables that are going to be really good for your body, give you those vitamins, minerals, and all the fiber that you need. And that'll help you, number one, not get into the pattern of restricting every time you binge. And also, number two, it'll help you with your digestion while you are binging. Just getting something fresh and green in there can really help. I think that little tip can also help with restriction too, because here's the thing, like, there are going to be times where you're just not going to know how to get yourself out of those patterns right away. And so if you are feeling the need to restrict, if you are feeling the need to binge and you don't trust yourself to be able to stop that, I think this also helps conversely for restricting as well, because if you don't want to eat and you're kind of having all these thoughts like, oh, this is so bad for me, like weight gain, any of the patterns, right? You can still eat something healthy, again, banana, vegetable soup, anything, fruits and veggies, and you can eat that, and you don't have to go too far down into that spiral of, oh, what did I just do, because you know that you ate something that was good for you, but you also forced yourself to eat, so you didn't give in to that like restricting, starving mindset fully. My next tip is talk to your body, write letters to your body, like really thinking of your body sometimes as a separate entity almost can be really helpful. Obviously, you're not separate from your body, but your body holds so much wisdom within it that the mind hasn't even begun to comprehend. Your body can be a really valuable teacher if you allow it to be. So, like, tell yourself you're beautiful, say I love you in the mirror, write yourself letters to your past self and to your body in maybe like even traumatic situations. I found really profound healing when I wrote letters apologizing to my body for the way that I have treated her as a result of my own mental instabilities, for lack of better words, and giving her thanks for the times that she carried me through situations that my mind couldn't even comprehend. This is also really helpful in trauma recovery because our bodies witness the full intensity of the traumatic event when our minds weren't even really there to fathom it. So think like the body keeps the score, right? We carry so much within our bodies, especially when we punish ourselves with food. So it's really helpful to connect deeply with our physical forms. There is this Hawaiian meditation. It's called Ho'oponopono meditations, and it essentially is I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And I've seen it most commonly as an inner child meditation. By the way, I hardly know anything about this. I've just done them before, so if anything I'm saying is like misleading, I apologize, but I've mainly seen them as inner child meditations. I found it to be really helpful to say that incantation to my body. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, just over and over, really thinking about what I have done, like how I have treated my body and how deeply I do feel those words that I'm saying to myself. Take your time and don't rush recovery. Don't be discouraged if you feel like it's taking a really long time to recover. Again, eating disorder recovery, it's never linear. It's a lifelong process and it's ever evolving. So don't force yourself to be somewhere you're not, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be at this moment for you. Always try and just be here now and don't fast forward through your life. Relapses are normal and honestly common. Don't be discouraged, rather use what you have learned from the relapse to inspire your journey back into recovery. If you relapse, it doesn't mean you're not recovering, it just means you have something left to learn. Each relapse will be different as you have gained new wisdom from your recovery, and it won't be an endless cycle. Eventually, relapses or moments of falling into temptation will be much less intense and overwhelming. You'll be able to handle it better and not take it as a life sentence. Remember, everything in life is cyclical, and you will not be where you are now forever. So just try and make the most of where you are now, and again, honoring yourself exactly where you are, while also keeping that forward momentum going and wanting to change into something better. My next piece of advice is for people who suffer with emotional restrictions. So when you're feeling upset, anxious, sad, really like activated, really overwired, and you just don't want to eat or you feel like you can't eat, I get this so strongly. And it's really important to force yourself to eat anyways, especially in those moments, because if you build up that pattern of never eating when you're upset, it's very, very, very back into that restrictive mindset, and you'll never change that pattern if you just give into it every time and just say, oh, I'm not going to eat because I'm upset, but I'm not really restricting. You're still building up that harmful pattern. So it's really important to force yourself to eat. You don't have to eat a huge meal. Just force yourself to eat something when you're feeling upset and like you don't want to eat, to just like break that pattern, break that cycle in your mind. It's all too easy to fall back into restriction, and the pattern of just depriving yourself of nutrients just because you're upset really needs to be broken with intention. And then on the flip side, emotional binging should also be handled a similar way, with at least forcing yourself to do another activity before binging. So like I talked before about journaling when you want to binge or restrict. It could really be anything. Like you could do some yoga before you decide to binge. You could go on a walk. You could paint something. I recommend doing something with your body. Don't be like, oh, I'm just gonna watch this YouTube video, because more likely than not, if you just sit in bed and watch something, you're still gonna want to feel like binging. But if you really like get up and do something with your body, then I find that that can be really helpful for emotional binging. Remember that eating disorders are literally all in your head, and the more you're able to change your mindset and go against the patterns that you have spent so long building up, the more the eating disorder brain will reveal its fallacies and weaknesses until you can't even take it seriously anymore. And I really mean that. I know it probably sounds crazy, but if you just trust me on this and really commit to the process of intentionally shifting your mindset around food, I promise everything will change. Obviously, I'm not like this perfectly healed person. I still struggle. but I've seen such drastic change in my eating disorder over the last couple years, and I really, really just wanted to share this, and I finally feel ready to share this. This has been coming for a long time, but there's been times where I have chosen not to because I didn't feel like it would be coming from an authentic enough place, but I really do feel like this is the time that I want to share this with people. Like I said at the beginning, these are all tips that I have personally utilized, and I can firsthand attest to the power of them, and I've seen benefits from them. I sincerely hope the information shared in this video will help at least just one person out there who might be struggling with an eating disorder. My message for you all is, please know, as cliche as it sounds, you are never alone, no matter how much that eating disorder brain really wants to try and isolate you and make you feel like you are alone. You're not. And even if recovery seems like it's a million miles away, it is possible for you to recover. You just have to make the choice to recover. You have to really want to recover. So also identifying why you do want to recover and what you want your life in recovery to look like and what that will bring you that fulfills you is really important to focus on that, so that you do have extra motivation and you know what you're working towards. God loves you. You were not created by accident. Every inch of you is intentional. Such a long lineage of lovers came together to create you. Like, you are standing here right now for a reason. So many things came together in perfect harmony to create the wonder that is you. And I just really, really, really hope that this video can be of benefit to someone out there who is struggling with a lot of the same things that I was struggling with back when I started this journey. So for the last little bit of this video, I just want to share with you guys some products that have really helped me during my recovery journey. And this is a supplement section. So if you're not interested in that, then bye. I really hope this helped you. This is not sponsored. However, if it can be, I'm down because I really believe in these products. So number one is a probiotic supplement. Take any probiotic that you can have access to. I'm going to be honest, these are really expensive probiotics. This is the Garden of Life Primal Defense Ultra. As far as I know, this is the strongest probiotic that they make. You probably don't need to get this high of a level. I actually started taking these when I had Lyme disease, and they literally changed my life. Like, they changed my gut health forever. So I still take these because, you know, they like saved my life. But you can really just take whatever probiotic you have access to. I know they're really expensive and it's definitely a luxury. So my mom takes a line and she likes it. I know doctors recommend that. But probiotics can really be beneficial coming from a stage of binging, restricting, purging. Our gut microbiomes are all sorts of jacked up from the damage that we do to our bodies. So probiotics can really help get in there and kind of rebalance everything out, introducing the good bacteria back into our gut and really helping us with digestion, bowel movements, all things that can be very irregular during eating disorder recovery and from eating disorders in general. Honestly, though, I think everybody should take a probiotic supplement. Everybody. So my next supplement is aloe vera capsules. I have the Whole Foods brand, and I know aloe vera supplements can be a little iffy. I know there's a part of the plant that you are not supposed to ingest, so I always just stick with this. I've tried the juice. It has hurt my stomach horrendously, so I just take the capsules. These are the 365 Whole Foods brand, and it is made with freeze-dried organic aloe vera concentrate, organic marshmallow root, and slippery elm bark. So just in case you guys don't have Whole Foods nearby, like, that's just the ingredients on this. This is an herbal laxative, and I definitely am not encouraging this for just trying to get rid of that like feeling of fullness, because I really struggled with that. But like I said, your digestion is maybe going to be very messed up from the damage that you've been doing to your body. So if you have those moments where like you need a little something, then this is perfect. It's not too harsh on your body. It's really, really gentle. It's not going to make you go like right away. It's just going to kind of like smooth things out and make it easier to pass your bowel movements. And it's important to drink a lot of water when you take these. And again, I'm not encouraging laxative use just for the sake of it. I'm only saying to use the aloe vera supplement when you need it. And it really reduces the need for another actual laxative. Senna tea is also really good. Licorice tea, black licorice. So my last product recommendation, my last supplement recommendation is the Enzyme Medica Digestive Enzymes. I have every single one they make. I love these. This brand, you guys, Enzyme Medica, I won't recommend another brand of digestive enzymes to you. They're amazing. They're just absolutely phenomenal. This is another product that I got into during Lyme, and it helped me so much. What this is just giving your body more of the natural digestive enzymes that your body already naturally produces, but sometimes it doesn't produce enough of it. Sometimes maybe if you have like a lactose intolerance, they actually make a specific lacto one, also make gluten, I think they make a fiber one as well, an acid. It just gives your body more of the enzyme that it naturally is trying to produce, and so it helps you digest easier. Oh my gosh, 3 out of 5 of my pets have visited. Hi, do you want to say hi to everybody? That's Mr. Worldwide. The one that I use 24/7, even though I said like I do have a lot of these in my house, I always use the Lipo Gold. So what this is for breaking down fat. They do have like a protein one. They have specific enzymes for breaking down certain compounds in your foods. I always use the Lipo because I find it to be the strongest. I also have a hard time digesting fat, and I eat a lot of fat. I eat a very high fat diet, so these really come in handy for me. I highly recommend digestive enzymes in general. So these are just 3 supplements that you can take to help with the digestive side of things, because that's something that can be really hard. I know, like, for me, a big trigger of my restricting was when my body would feel really heavy and my stomach would feel full, and I would feel like I could tell there was food in me and my stomach would hurt. I would have a lot of like food intolerances, and it made eating really miserable, and especially during the beginning of my recovery. So these are products that helped me stick with my recovery and not give in to that uncomfortability leading to restriction again. So if you're a similar person, I definitely recommend you get on the supplement train, especially the probiotic. If I'm recommending anything out of this, take a probiotic. Everybody in the world needs to take a probiotic supplement, and I really mean that. Like, I really mean that. I will stand by this. I will die on this hill. Take a probiotic, but they're all great. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. This was my first video ever, so if it's a little awkward, that's why. Please just bear with me. I restarted this video like a million times, and then when I finally just got into it, it's like, it'll be what it's gonna be, you know. But I hope that the information in this video can be helpful to some people, and again, just know you're not walking this path alone. And as you do walk further and further down it, life is going to open up so many doors for you that your eating disorder never would have allowed, and it can be a really beautiful thing to learn to reappreciate the fullness and the magic of life, not bound by your eating disorder. If this ends up landing with people and there's any other videos about eating disorders or like anything that you guys want me to do, please let me know and I would be more than happy to. I have no shortage of ideas in my head. It is really just about actually doing it. And here I am. So yeah. Bye. Do you want to say bye?